we've been talking of storytelling with Theo Akatuba, a seasoned thespian, seasoned media practitioner, movie maker, and cultural activist. What is it that Nollywood is telling, stories that Nollywood is telling, that is not doing us well?
This is a big one. Whatever the perception a nation, enjoys or suffers from, is as a result of the storytellers in the nation and they are abroad, from filmmakers, pressmen, cartoonists. Your story is an embodiment of what your nation is supposed to be perceived as. Otherwise, why do you think there's censorship? There is all these classifications that we see. A people are exactly what the media they consume. So Nollywood has done Nigeria a lot of good.
And a lot of bad.
A lot of bad.
Or some people have done Nigeria a lot of bad.
You know why? Because a friend of mine was in the US and was having a good time with a woman. They were very nice, very friendly. They had 2 days together of great time. But each time they want to go to the hotel, the lady will stop halfway and leave and say she's going. And guys, you don't ever come to my lobby and just see where I stay. I want us to share some time, maybe breakfast. The lady said, "You're not a Nigerian. You want to use me for ritual."
Oh.
So she had always, while being friendly, cautiously,
perception had been created.
So the movies that she's seen, she see them, because sometimes our writers are not smart enough. You don't write stories to make your people look bad. And when we ask you, say, "Oh, that's what is happening." No, it's not about what's happening. It's about what does that story do. In the whole of Africa, what's the perception? If you tell your stories that imagine you tell a story of 4 men, they are going to commit a crime, and there's no conscience among the 4. They do commit the crime as if there's no voice of conscience among 4 people. So we need to be careful now, because what is the world saying? The world is saying that data from Nigeria shows Nigerians are making a statement that the country is not. So when they see that, they begin to find, that's why our storyteller...
And it's coming from the most populous black nation,
which is Nollywood. And they watch the movies, they try to look at it. We were in South Africa and somebody was showing a movie about domestic violence. It's just a movie. The level of violence that was produced, was showcased in the movie. By the time the movie was 15 minutes, the audience was half. People have left. It was just not reasonably presented.
Oh.
You can present domestic violence in a way that the story evoke empathy. People want to see it. Even the character that is evil still has a certain reason for it. Sometimes the writers, because the democratized environment, we've sold stories, we sold a lot of stories that have damaged us. But we have some great stories too that have come out of this place. But we need to do more, because we're in a world where nations are polishing and laundering their images. A plane crash in the US movie, a Hollywood movie, we say, in spite of this crash, the airspace in the United States remains the safest. That line was dropped there. So, if you want to write a story of corrupt policemen, you must also show one that is standing firm.
Just to ride on your point now, there was a story of the burning train, the Indian movie, the burning train. They stopped people from riding trains because they built a lot of humanity into it, empathy into it, love story, all in that burning train, and corruption.
It's also because that is the real life. But you see, when you watch that movie, you will forget the corruption that you saw in it. But you see the beauty, the story that was told. I believe that we are too extreme in thinking that only the negative will evoke the emotion of the audience. The audience need hope to be sold to him as well. And stories that do not, everything is not about theory and negative, a wicked one who got wicked, all of the movie, and then just one last minute, something just happened to him and you give glory to God. We need to be more dexterous, because the world, if you look at the Korean films, if they want to tell you a story around doctors, you will think you've gone into the University of Doctors, and they will project that profession nicely within the story of love. They want to tell a story of astronauts, they will show you space station. You will see it fully and you will learn.
And if they are doing a movie about police station,
you will see everything from beginning to the end, and it's all the things. So we need to understand that, look, Storytelling is the arc of filmmaking. And when the stories are properly told, they outlive the mediums, they outlive the channels, they even outlive the generations that told it.
To better understand what you are saying now, so what is stopping us?
Limitation of the mind.
Okay.
And the fact that we want quick fixes. People want to make money. And people say, oh, what you're selling now is what we do. Once a story type sells, you will notice the entire industry goes in that story direction.
True.
What's selling now is comedies. Comedy. Oh, what's selling now is epic. It tells that we are not.
There was a time there were so many epics.
Correct. We're not telling stories that endures. Stories they are supposed to stand firm. And from generation to generation, if the video qualities, I've bought telenovelas that were 20 years old. And when those telenovelas were presented in the territories, the integrity, the caption, the story's impact, the days that Richard Sokra came here, it was already about 20 years old when we were watching Richard Sokra.
Oh, wow. It's a lie.
I'm telling you. It was
I
an
did know that.
old movie. But at the time
the time they showed it,
it was already about 20 years old at the time we were watching. So this reality, is what our storytellers must know and tell the stories.
Now, sometimes a story of crime can be so well presented that people would then have sympathy for the robbers.
Absolutely.
Money Heist, where these guys went to rob a bank and people were really pitying the robbers.
That there's a reason, but at the end of the day, they were punished.
They were punished, but the thing is, the story sold so much that it was one of the biggest movies from the Spanish-speaking this thing. And people, in fact, it had a part 2, season 2 or so, that people now felt, man, they shouldn't have robbed though, but the story caught on with a lot of people.
In Nigeria, for example, we've got some great story that have been told here. Great storytellers. Even recently, we still have. What I'm just saying is that we have too many. There are too few in the midst of the many. So when the more people see, what they see more becomes the definition of our film industry. So
now, talking about our stories, I'll pick like 4 and tell you to weigh in on them. There was King of Boys.
Yes.
There was
7 Doors.
7 Doors, and then this one that To Kill a Monkey.
Yeah, this was a recent film that
movie,
caught up very well.
And then one that showed another story of what we were talking about before the story started was Entitlement in Behind the Scene with Funke Akindele, which was one of the first movies that crossed 3 billion. That made 3 billion.
See that film? Yeah, where the family.
Well, yes, because the family depended on this woman so much and didn't care whether
they about her,
forgot about who she was. Yeah. And it just showed how a lot of families disintegrate as soon as the person who's the breadwinner goes out of the picture. Yeah. Her own children don't get to. So those kind of stories, you begin to see that there's a lot more because nobody thought the story was going to come from that place. So does it now speak to the fact that you were trying to make, that there's so many more stories in Africa that are yet to be told?
In fact, we call this place an unmined. Our lives are very dramatic. We have a very rich culture that we have diminished over the years that we need to excavate. There are so many things that we have for which Africa, would have competed more, more powerfully. We're not competing globally because of the abandonment of our culture. No nation can have a scientific code unless it connects to the root of its cultures and traditions. But since we left it, and a lot of that we demonize them. Some people mistake Christianity to be against tradition. No. What is tradition? Tradition is our way of life that's passed from generation to generation. And if we don't keep that, where will you get your scientific code? The way we dance has code. The way we sing have code. All these codes.
I agree with you there because sometimes we forget that some stories happen by accident. I'll take you to a story that maybe one day somebody will tell it. It's a story of a Senegalese woman who, at the age of 70 or so, had medical issues. And the daughter had gone overseas to be a nurse. And so the daughter now said, Mommy, I can't be in this position as a registered nurse with a degree in nursing and not be able to take care of you. Come. And she was brought to this thing. And then she was going for a medical checkup and saw a woman walk past. And she said, "That's my elder sister that went missing." And they laughed like, "Your elder sister that went missing." You just see somebody in London and you conclude that that's your sister that went missing. And she said, "That's my sister that went missing." He said, "How?" What they said? "That tribal mark, nobody else has it in this world. Nobody else. That I don't have it because after my sister got it,
no one else should."
My mom said no one else because she cried and she was the last person that got that tribal mark. But guess what? The war started. The 1966 war started.
The Civil War.
The Civil War. And everybody was displaced and they thought her sister died. Said, "But that's my sister."
You see?
And they were in Nigeria at the time. And the war caught up with them. So now Cameroonian. Sorry, not Senegalese, Cameroonian. And you know that corridor between the East and Cameroon used to be like one thoroughfare.
Absolutely.
And so they went back to Cameroon and story continued. After the Civil War, the sister got taken over by some families and moved to Port Harcourt. From Port Harcourt, got somebody and then overseas. And 37 years later, the woman said, "That's my sister." But you see, stories like that don't get much traction. Or what is it? Why don't we tell those kind of stories?
You look at this. Why would such a story not get a traction?
Okay.
Because the story has every
element.
Yeah, every element to bring it out, to make it a very beautiful story. Look, storytelling is an art. If you are taught the art from Western viewpoint, you will be telling your story. That's why
from the Western viewpoint.
Yes. Okay. The first thing the society does is to go back into its origin, especially those who are in your art. You know, the investment we invest in art here is so minimal. We forget that the warfare is not in bullets. The greatest warfare
is mindset.
Is the mindset. You can't have your people's mind captured and you say you have citizens. This is why we are struggling.
So our limitation is also our mindset.
Our mindset. The mindsets of the citizens we have been captured, have been, we've been trained to devalue ourselves.
So be subdued.
Absolutely. So when I think of it, I said, okay, how can a nation rescue the heart of its people from Western capture so that they can value? Look at the war in Iran. They just fought the war from their standpoint. They didn't follow the conventional Western way of fighting war. And it was very difficult.
Yes, very difficult to be won.
To be won.
By Israel or by
US. Because they're coming to you with what they have, what they are, and their own resilience and spiritual disposition. True. So fighting them becomes difficult.
There's a proverb in our place that says, "You will kill me today that the lazy man holds the strong man with." It's hard for the strong man to even defeat me.
Because the man is today we are here.
Will die. So even if you have all the powers,
you will be born with that fight and get fed up.
All right. We'll be right back.
Breakfast potpourri, info education.